Well, welcome back. It's been 4 months. We've been full-timing. We've learned a lot. We've had a lot of fun experiences. We've had some bad experiences. We have some in the middle.
Not necessarily bad, just not wanted.
What's the difference?
I like to put a positive spin on it.
So we just want to make this video for those who are thinking about going full-timing, those that have some questions like, oh, what's it like on the road? Is this really going to be for me? You know, you can't really figure it out until you actually do it. You know, do you not want to be surprised? If that's what you're looking for, this video is for you. So one of the most recent things we've been up against is some surprise medical stuff. My wife has had some stomach issues, and not to go in detail, it looks like she might be requiring a surgery or two coming up. And traveling, constantly moving every 2 or 3 weeks has been really hard because you have to get the doctor's appointments. You have to go do this test. You have to do that test. Then you have to schedule the hospital to wait for the surgery. And then by all that happens, well, guess what? Now you have to go to the next park because you're out of time at the park that you're currently at.
Because we're Thousand Trails members, and so we have a 21-day limit on our stay. So it has been challenging trying to figure out, okay, let's see where we can be for the full 21 days that has a hospital that I would trust close by. And then can we get an appointment like the day that we get there?
Yeah.
So that if I need surgery, we have time to have the appointment and get the surgery scheduled, get it done, recover a little bit before we need to move to the next campground. So thankfully the parks have been very helpful in accommodating as much as they can, but it definitely is something to think about. It's much more difficult and challenging than when you're at home and you're sticks and bricks and you're like, oh yeah, sure, I can do it in 3 weeks, no problem.
So that was point one. Another talking point thing that we've gone through is we've had truck problems. We've had some warranty issues. We've had some back-ordered part issues. Luckily, we're able to go to my parents' house and stay there while the truck was getting fixed.
At a shop we knew and trusted.
We tried a few different times around the country to get the truck fixed, and they weren't able to fix it. So we also were up against that we lucked out and were able to go and had a place to stay. But if you're all on your own and don't have that type of family to rely on, then if your truck breaks, then yeah, you'd have nothing to tow your rig with unless you rent.
Need a plan B.
Same thing with your Class A. If your rig breaks and it needs to go in for some warranty repairs, even though it's covered under warranty, the parts might be on back order. So do you drove around with a broken rig? Do you wait for those 2 or 3 months for the parts to become available? That's all something for you to think about before you make the decision to go full-timing. Another issue with my wife is some food stuff. Why don't you tell me what we found about food stuff?
So I do have a very sensitive digestive system, and I can't do dairy and soy and all that. So finding foods that I can eat in grocery stores all around the country, yes, I can have vegetables and all of that. But we have learned that each area kind of sprays their produce differently, or each campground, maybe the water source is different. And so that is also something to take into account. If you have a specialized diet, do your research ahead of time. Like I knew going into this, which grocery stores were going to have the specialty things that I like to have and put in my diet. So when we're at those places, I kind of stock up. So just have a plan if that's you, if you have a specialized diet. And if you know you're sensitive to water sources, make sure you get all the water filters, not just the filtration outside the rig, but also a filter inside that filters your drinking water yet again. Because sometimes the campground water is not that great. Sometimes the campground water gets shut off for an entire day.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I wonder why. What's going on? So just, again, something to think about and plan.
So those are some bad things. Challenges to think about. Some other things to look at. Some positive things to look at is, you know, we've met a lot of friends along the way, and the kids work really well together. There's been really any issues with the kids together. We're at a campground now where we actually met 3 other different full-time families, and every single one of the kids played on the playground together for hours.
All different ages.
All the different ages with no problems. They all get along really well together. Typically in our sticks and bricks, you know, you have age groups that work together and age groups that don't. Out here, what we found is it's old school Americana. Like when I grew up, we could run and gun in the neighborhood and play basketball and kick the can, those kind of games. That kind of stuff happens at these Thousand Trails resorts that we go to. We're seeing that, and we're very thankful for that.
And the kids get excited when they see their friends again. Oh, we saw them back in Ohio, or oh, we saw them in Maine, and they pick up right where they left off, honestly, because they're kids, and they just, oh great, we already know each other, let's play.
Yeah, the kids have gotten to the point where they see a truck and a rig go down the road, like, oh, that's so-and-so's truck and rig, they're pulling up, or when we're pulling into a campsite, hey, I know that truck and trailer over there, that's so-and-so's parents' trailer, we're going to be seeing them, oh, fun. So they get really excited when those moments happen, which is really good to see, to affirm to us that we made the right choice to come full-timing. The parks, along with the kids stuff, the parks are hit or miss. Sometimes there's parks with tons of kids. Sometimes those kids are a little scarce. That is hit or miss, obviously, depending greatly upon the park. Out here it's been a community feel.
Mm-hmm.
When there's something wrong with your truck or trailer, if you need a part and a neighbor asks you about it, sometimes they might have something to help you out. Sometimes they might have some knowledge to pass on to you to help you out.
That's the great thing, is there's a lot of sharing of knowledge. There's a lot of like, how can I help? Especially from the people who've been on the road for much longer, or the veterans who have been on the road for 6 or 2 or however 10. We've ran into people who've been on the road for a long time, over a decade, and the knowledge that they're willing and open to share is just, it's a great community feel. Not like where you have to pay to get that knowledge and experience.
So that was kind of a few talking points we want to talk about of things that we've seen, we've learned, that we not necessarily thought too. We did think about a little bit before we jumped in, but not to this detail. Like, oh, what if we have truck problems? Well,
he's a mechanic.
Well, yeah, but there's only so much I can do on the road with my tools. So you have to really look into account and go, okay, well, if this happens, do you have a backup plan in mind? Do you have an out, or do you have a pause button, or whatever your case may be for you guys? Just something to think about and really look into these things and think outside this list as well.
Yeah, we'd be curious to know if anybody has more things on their list of things that you should have backup plans or a contingency plan for, that have been on the road longer than us that we haven't thought about yet.
Yep, so leave those down in the comments below, and if you liked everything we're talking about, hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye!